Hello again, this is Entropy.
And this is Lucifera.
Continuing in the secret book of John, we will be continuing with Lucy doing the actual text and me doing the annotations.
Primary structures of the divine mind. She, Barbelo, asked the Virgin Spirit for foreknowledge, prognosis. The Spirit agreed. Foreknowledge came forth and stood by Providence. Bracket. This one came through the invisible Virgin Spirit's thought. End of bracket. Foreknowledge gave glory to the Spirit and to Barbelo, the Spirit's perfect power, for she was the reason that it had come into being. She, Barbelo, asked the Virgin Spirit for incorruptibility. The Spirit agreed. Incorruptibility came forth and stood by thought and foreknowledge. Incorruptibility gave glory to the invisible Virgin Spirit and to Barbelo, and for she was the reason that it had come into being.
The Pleroma, or fullness, begins to come into being in this sequence. The Pleroma is the eon, or realm of Barbelo. It is, however, not a particular place or court of celestial beings, even though it is described that way. It is the mind of God expanding from its initial self-knowledge. The first movement is self-reflective, self-conscious thought, signified as the Mother, or Barbelo. The second movement taking place here is the differentiation of self-consciousness into forms and types of consciousness, into various mental powers. The process by which each comes into being is similar. Self-awareness asks consciousness. Barbelo asks the Virgin Spirit, the invisible Spirit. 2, consciousness agrees. 3, the power comes forth. 4, the power stands. 5, the power gives glory to consciousness and self-awareness, Barbelo and the Virgin Spirit, invisible Spirit. As the mythological tale unfolds, we are evidently to imagine the celestial court made up of superior and subordinate beings standing and glorifying a central being. The arrangement of these beings reminds one of the form of the mandala, used to symbolize the unity of mental forces in the Tibetan Buddhist tradition. And here they have the graph that you see here. In the middle, Mother Providence Barbelo. Over her, foreknowledge. To the right, incorruptibility. Below her, everlasting life. And to the left, truth.
She asked for everlasting life. The Spirit agreed. Everlasting life came forth, and they all stood together. They gave glory to the invisible Spirit and to Barbelo, for she was the reason that it had come into being. She asked for truth. The Spirit agreed. Truth came forth, and they all stood together. They gave glory to the invisible Spirit and to Barbelo, for she was the reason that it had come into being. This is the fivefold realm of the Father, the first man.
We have come to a significant development. The whole of the realm of providence, which is the Pleroma, is defined as the first man, a fact that later takes on tremendous significance. The whole Pleroma will be displayed later in the secret book of John to lower powers who will model the first human being, Adam, upon it. So this is the prototypical human, the first man, the primordial perfection of which humanity is a reflection.
Who is the image of the invisible spirit? Who is providence? Who is Barbelo? Who is thought?
This sequence of synonyms implies reasonably enough that the fivefold expansion of providence into the Pleroma does not result in a host of different beings, but rather a system of different potentialities within the one thought. And what is that thought but the Father envisioning himself?
And foreknowledge, incorruptibility, life, everlasting, truth. Bracket. These are an androgynous fivefold realm. Therefore it is a realm of 10 of the Father. End of bracket.
The idea of the mandala of 5 within the Pleroma really being 10, an androgynous realm, is similar to the Tibetan Buddhist idea that each mental power depicts within a mandala has both wisdom and compassion aspect. The former is feminine, the latter masculine, and the combination of both is essential for psychic development. Thus, many mandalas depict the psychic powers as Buddhas, or bodhisattvas, in yam-yam sexual union position, combining the masculine and feminine aspect. It is a sort of symbolism that the secret book of John presupposes at this point. At 5 of the revealed beings are feminine gender terms. In the Greek language, therefore, to complete the androgynous realm, their 5 counterparts would have been labeled with masculine gender words, but those words are not revealed here. This section reads, for me, very much like the Zohar, the Kabbalah, and of course, Kabbalistic Judaism is closely associated with Gnosticism. Gnosticism to the Kabbalah is not unlike Buddhism is to Hinduism. It is an offshoot, a more Western tradition. Also, of course, it again discussed Buddhism in here. Here we have at the beginning, it discussed the Pleroma, which Gnostics are quite familiar with this term. And usually you see the word Pleroma being synonymous with heaven or a higher heaven. Here we have a description that is more psychological of the mind than how you usually hear the Pleroma discussed.
To me, the Pleroma is the fullness of God. It's I call it Sophia. Sophia is the Pleroma. Everything that surrounds Sophia is the Pleroma. It's the light of the mind of God. It's Sophia, the spark, the allness, if you want to say.
The name here used, Barbelo, is really Sophia. Most Gnostics recognize this as the wisdom of God being Sophia with a capital S. The Holy Spirit, if you prefer. Here we have the consciousness sort of coming into being. I've always seen this somewhat opposite of the way the book is describing it, that the consciousness already existed and the unconsciousness existed within what we might now call the void. The consciousness being Sophia and the unconsciousness being represented in the Kabbalah by the, I'm going to say name since it's really not an entity, of Dat, D-A-A-T. I have gone into my reflection and understanding of this in another video about the Divine Feminine.
Sophia, the divine consciousness, the divine feminine, is a big part of our path. She's definitely a big part of my path, so yeah.
We both look at the Divine Feminine as being the Holy Spirit, which drives us to do what it is that we are doing. Now this description and this chart here of the Mother Providence Barbelo, and how it is mirrored in Tibetan Buddhist tradition is something that is new to me as well. I'm not a Tibetan Buddhist. I am a Zen Buddhist, and Tibetan Buddhism is just as foreign, many of their concepts, as any of you that might be listening to this. It's very interesting just how much reflection that Buddhism and Kabbalistic Judaism is reflected in Gnosticism. I will say that here at the end, when it discusses the 5 within the Pleroma really being 10, it very much resonates with me. The concept of 10 also comes from the 10 Sephiroth that are in the Zohar, the Kabbalah, the 10 different designations of God, if you like, the 10 different aspects of God. 5 in particular resonates with me, and it has a lot to do with my coming to this enlightenment that I have. Now, I've discussed this before with people who know me, and I'm not going to go into details here because not everyone knows or accepts or understands a lot of the things that I might discuss, and I don't want to get into an ego thing here about me personally. Let's just say that the number 5 in particular resonates a lot with me and with what level of satori or enlightenment that I have obtained. And enlightenment is a very simple concept. It doesn't have anything to do with anything that you do that is morally right. Your morality has nothing to do with enlightenment. It has nothing to do with anything more than your perception of yourself as being this God, and your understanding of why it is that you're here on this planet, what your purpose is in the universe. As far as that is concerned, I have come to that, and the number 5 has a major resonance with me. Very, very much part of all of this with me, and I would go into detail to those who know me. I would go into more detail with them, but I'm not just going to lay it out here for everyone to hear.
In regards to the Holy Spirit, Sophia, like I said, is a big part of my path, and definitely a presence that I feel within. And as we know, the Holy Spirit is known as the Comforter. And what is a Comforter? The Comforter is a mother. So this is how we perceive it. This is how we connect with the divine. So for me, the Holy Spirit is Sophia, the divine, the Comforter, and is a presence that is everywhere and within.
A sure sign for me, those who have the Holy Spirit and who have understanding, they're going to be able to see the Holy Spirit, and they're going to be able to see it move through other people. If the kind of foolish people who come at Lucy are the ones who are completely bereft of any Holy Spirit. And this is the reason why we speak against these people. They are committing the unforgivable sin, and they are blaspheming the Holy Spirit, her presence as the divine feminine, on a continual basis. And we will continue to speak against these people regardless of how moral or upright others may see them to be. Closing up here, I hope that you're enjoying these videos. They're not being watched by a lot of people, but that's fine. We look for quality rather than quantity. So please open up any discussion that you have here, and we will see you next time. This is Entropy 666.
And this is Lucifera.
Goodbye.